It's Vex, and today, February 2023, these are our staples of February 2023. Let's actually get right down into it. So, if you want to check out these staples, I do have the list in the description below. Check that out. But let's get right into it. So, I had one little short this month here. I'm back to the shorts. I took a break after doing the entire band list, but I'm back. We had Cursed Mirror. Cursed Mirror is really cool. Let's actually read it, our first staple. 2 and a red, taps add a red. So 3 mana rock, not that great. It only adds 1 color. Still not that great, but let's read this. As it enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste. Wow. So, what's the biggest and baddest creature we want to copy? Well, of course we want to copy this creature, Blightsteel Colossus. We can turn our Cursed Mirror into a Blightsteel Colossus. Right there. Boom. Has haste, attack, trample, infect, indestructible. It's great. Or we can, instead of turning it into a big fatty here, we have other cards like our friend Dockside Extortionist, because this does ETB as Dockside Extortionist. Right there, make a bunch of treasures, and heck, we can even attack with it if we wanted to, but maybe not. So when Cursed Mirror ETBs, it becomes a copy of a creature. It doesn't have the tap add red, 1 red. Next turn afterwards, it does. So it's kind of like a quick clone, and then it becomes a mana rock, which is insane because you can copy a lot of ETB cards. A lot of people are playing tons of ETB cards. You can copy Solemn Simulacrum. I have the Secret Lair here. Solemn Simulacrum. ETB, get a land. So this mana rock produces a land with it, which is cool. So you get a lot of cool ETB effects with Cursed Mirror, or you can copy a big fatty like Blightsteel Colossus. So this is definitely another staples going in my staple pile. Then we have our good friend Strip Mine. This is an old school one. This is a 4th edition one, actually. So if you look here, it's actually a white border. I have this black border inner sleeve. So it turns to black border. I can't wait for him to actually reprint an official, non-foil, non-expedition, just a regular reprinting of Strip Mine. But until then, we have this. Tap to add 1 colorless. Tap, sack, destroy any land, including basic lands. And most notably, powerful lands like Gaea's Cradle. You're like, hey, oh, you got Gaea's Cradle? Boom, sack, destroy. Just really, really good. Destroy Field of the Dead, destroy command towers of somebody. It is a mean thing, but somebody's color screwed a little bit, and they have 1 plains and all mountains playing Boros deck. You're just like, destroy that plains. Good luck with that. So very, very good. Much better than Wasteland. Wasteland only does non-basic lands. This does any single land. And if you recur it with Crucible Worlds or the new, I think, Conduit of Worlds from Phyrexia All Will Be One, Strip Mine is insane. Okay, moving on. Speaking of Phyrexia All Will Be One, we have a new card called the Magnificent Garden. Tap, add colorless. 1 tap, add 1 mana of any color. That's a super, super powerful ability. And if you watch my Phyrexia All Will Be One top 10, this is the number 1 card because it has that middle ability where you could do the color filtering. Then X tap. Magnificent Garden becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. So you could tap this, copy a Soul Ring. You can copy this Arcane Signet that we have here. You can copy an Emerald Medallion. You pay 2 tap and becomes permanently a copy of that card, which is super cool. For instance, adding 1 color is not enough. You want to tap, pay 1 tap, copy a Soul Ring. Unfortunately, it is tapped when you copy it, so you can't just tap it for mana. I know Lion's Eye Diamond does not require tapping for mana or gold tokens from Curse of Opulence and such. So this is really good. Or you could tap here, maybe copy something, like this, a Blightsteel Colossus. You pay 12, copy it. Now you have 2 Blightsteel Colossus. And it's not legendary. I've always thought it was legendary because it looks legendary to me. But it's not legendary, so you actually copy Blightsteel Colossus. So we have that card here. Next we have, speaking of Emerald Medallion and Arcane Signet, so we have these guys. I have the other medallions in my staple pile, but I figured I'd put Emerald Medallion just to finish off a cycle. So that's just there. Arcane Signet, I have 1, but I need another one because I use my staple pile to build multiple decks. And sometimes I yank 1 Arcane Signet, and I was like, oh, I need another one, so I'm just adding that in the pile. Same for Blasphemous Act, right there. Blasphemous Act, 8 and a red, but you never pay that. Spell costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield. Usually 8 or more creatures make it just a red mana. Deal 13 damage to each creature, so board wipe. Emerald Medallion, all green spells cost 1 less to cast. Usually I don't play artifacts in my green decks, so I don't have my staple pile. But just I love completing cycles, so that's why it's in there. 2 new cards I'm adding to my staple pile here this month. Chromatic Lantern. You're like, hey Vex, this is just a 3-mana rock. They suck now. All 2-mana rocks are much better. Well, the reason I like playing Chromatic Lantern here is if I'm doing a more budget build, even though this costs a lot of money, it helps, with the mana base. You can pay a little cheaper mana base because you have a good mana rock. Let's actually read it first. 3 generic. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Then tap, add 1 mana of any color. So it just makes all your lands rainbow lands. It also adds, it is itself, tongue twister, a rainbow artifact. So you can add any color. And I like having this when I need access to colors that are not in my commander's color identity. When I steal cards, I think Wizards is printing a lot of things that steal cards. I think Excel or whatever it's called, the new Infect commander can steal cards, and they might have activated abilities. So Chromatic Lantern is really cool in those situations there. And it's just a good mana rock. There's nothing wrong with it. So play it. Then we have our good friend Protection Bracket. I know this is getting really a really crowded space now that they printed a card like Black Market Connection, which is already a staple. So Protection Racket, let's actually read our good friend Protection Racket right here. 2 and a black, same mana value as Black Market Connection. Enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, repeat the following process for each opponent in turn order. Reveal a top card of your library. That player may pay life equal to that card's mana value. If they do, exile that card, otherwise put it in your hand. So essentially every turn you just, you point to one opponent, you say, boom, do you want to pay 2 life or give me this card? Then, they could pay 2 life and it would be exiled forever, which is fine. Don't ever play this card in a deck where you're trying to combo with a 2-card combo because you might lose that card in exile. Just a little warning there. So you do that. Next player, Arcane Signet, no, we'll pay 2 life. Next player, Chromatic Lantern, no, we'll pay 2 life, 3 life. So you've done, this is done 7 damage. So in a aristocrat type deck, it works out pretty well. It just slow drains your opponent because, eventually they're like, man, I've paid 10 life for you not to draw cards. I'm like, yep, this is done what it's done because it does 7 life in a turn cycle. Sometimes you reveal a land that pays 0 life, you don't get it. Sometimes you're behind or you have arch enemy, be like, hey, I need that land. Can you give it to me? They're like, yes, just take the land. So it's like a free card draw. So it's really good in more late game situations where they have less life to offer. Or it's also really good in aristocrats. It's actually just really good in general. Just try it out. If you haven't tried it, try this card out. It's amazing. And guess what? If they flip this card right here, boom, Blightsteel Colossus, would you like to pay 12 life? Most likely yes, but man, this thing dealt 12 damage. Just really, really good. And it's still on the battlefield, deal more damage later on. All right, so those are our staples. You know what? I realized I've used Blightsteel Colossus for this example, that example, that example. I'm going to make this a staple. Blightsteel Colossus. This is one of the biggest and baddest cards you want to play. He is such a fatty that, why not include Blightsteel Colossus? I was going to use Blightsteel Colossus as an example. And I'm like, you know what? It is itself a staple. These Solemn Simulacrum, Dockside Extortion are already a staple. So move those away. I mean, if I use the example Gaia's Cradle, that is an amazing staple, but it is almost a 4-digit card. Reserve list, take that out of there. We don't play reserve list cards in our decks because we don't need them. Anyways, Blightsteel Colossus. Actually, I should read Blightsteel Colossus. If you don't know, I hope you know what Blightsteel Colossus does because getting smacked in the face with this thing is very painful. It's 12 generic artifact creature goal, non-legendary, which is great. Trample, Infect, Indestructible. Infect means deals damage in poison counters or -1/-1 counters. So yes, if you get hit by this thing, 1 hit, you'll get 11 points counter, you'll die immediately. Then if Blightsteel Colossus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into its owner's library instead, so it's a replacement effect. So you can't reanimate it, thank God. Can you imagine reanimating this card? Anyways, these are our staples of February. If you have new staples you want to see in March or you think I should add to my staple pile, leave them in the comments below. I do have a list of staples in the comments below, as I mentioned. But, you know what? That's it. That's it. That's the end of my video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future. And as always, have a wonderful day.